All right. It's 2:01. Kelly, should we start or
Yeah, sure. We can go ahead and reset you up. There's a lot to get through. So looks like we might have a few more still coming on, but we can
yep.
go ahead and start.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna turn my camera on for just a minute. Hi everyone. I'm Emily. I'm just gonna turn my camera on at the beginning and the end because I have other my husband's also doing video conference, so I want to conserve bandwidth. And most of the time, I'll be sharing my screen with you. So I'm going to do that now. Let's see. Can can someone let me know if you're seeing my presentation?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. So, like I said, I'm Emily Liu. I'm the Web and Digital Accessibility Coordinator. And today, training is about understanding some basic principles about accessibility, and there are which are the four graphics that you see on my cover slide. They're perceivable, operatable, understandable, and robust. We'll talk more about that later in the training. And part two of the training, I'm gonna show you how to make your document more accessible. All right. So here's the agenda. We have part one, which is the accessibility overview. And so we're going to go over principle, guideline, assessive technology, take, and all that good stuff. And part two, I will be jumping into Microsoft Word and show you how to apply knowledge and how do you fix issues in the accessibility checker, and therefore making your document more accessible. And if time allows, I will also cover a little bit about PDF. I don't have that in my agenda, just because I have a lot already, I feel like. And at the end of the training, I will send you guys a survey link and just a really quick few questions for you to give feedback on my training. And this, of course, will help me improve my future trainings. And one more thing I want to mention before we start. When I do the demo, I'm going to be using the current, the Office 365. And some people, I don't know, might still have the old version of Word, or you might encounter a document that's made in an old Word application. That would be the difference between the .doc and .docx. And you can convert that into the new format, and so everything will match with what you see in my training. But you might lose some format, but you can fix them, or in some cases I might point out, okay, here's what you will see in the old Word version if you have the old Word. But I think everybody should be on Office 365. All right, let's start with part one. And very basic. So, what is accessibility and why it matters? So, accessibility is about making content available for many users possible, including people with are limited by disabilities. And so, for example, a visually impaired user might, depending on the screen reader and keyboard, become their eyes. So the individual with mobility issue might not be able to use the mouse and depend only on the keyboard for navigation throughout your document or website. And why it matters? Number one, it is the law, and the American with Disability Act, which is ADA, says information must be accessible. And as a public sector, our site and website and document are required to be accessible. And secondly, it improves usability for all. So nowadays, the use of web and digital content spread into all different areas, and millions of people that have disability are affected by that. So accessibility simply means making your content usable by people of all ability. So the usability means making it easier for your audience to read your document, understand your document, or your website. And last thing is simply the right thing to do. So access to information is a human right. And as our government agency we create millions of documents every year. And making document accessible is so important that individual with disability can access information. And accessibility also has a carryover benefit for other users, which will cover more details in the training. And now I'm going to show you a quick video. Sorry, I got to get out of this and hopefully... And let me know when you can hear.
A shop called What's in Store is open.
Can you hear?
Security cameras show that nearly all the products
can anybody hear this?
And have no information.
Nope, I'm not hearing you.
Nope.
Oh, okay. I had this problem before. Something about sound not sharing. Let me go here and see. That's weird. Anybody have this? I have this happen before. I forgot how I resolve it. I think it's a setting for sharing sound. Okay, let me see.
Yeah, I think your speakers, I think. I remember how we fixed it last time I had this come up.
Yeah.
I think you have to, there should be a way where you do share with sound.
I did that as the default.
Okay.
Can you hear?
That's all I know.
Can you hear now?
Yep.
Oh, you can? Oh, perfect.
Okay. All the products on the shelves are blank and have no information on them. A woman walks into the store. She looks at the blank products and is very confused.
Is there anything you're particularly looking for?
An explanation?
One by one, more customers enter, each as confused as the last.
What's all this unmarked stuff?
Oh, it's just regular food.
What's the deal?
How can you tell what's what?
They don't even have signs.
A woman points to some tins.
Is this a different item to that?
Not necessarily, no.
This is crazy. Are you sure this isn't some kind of massive joke?
So you don't know what it is?
No, I don't.
No, you know, obviously, but how do we know?
No, I don't know either.
A title reads, everyone should have the right to know what they're buying. Yet 9 in 10 blind and partially sighted people find it difficult to access crucial information on packaging.
There's no nutrition value, there's no fat, there's no salt, there's no sugar written on the labels. What do you know what you're getting?
What if you have a nut allergy?
Good question.
My mind is working overtime right now trying to figure this stuff out.
So just imagine if this was your regular shopping experience. Like if you went to... This is the regular shopping experience for somebody who's partially sighted or blind.
Right, I see.
Quotes from people with sight loss read, I have to depend on others to read it for me. It's denying us our independence. I want manufacturers to take notice. A title reads, we're working with brands and supermarkets to make their packaging more accessible.
So, okay, let's go back to my PowerPoint. Sorry, I got multiple screen. I got it. Okay, here. So that kind of video just show you, how frustrating it is when, when your document's inaccessible and can be read by a screen reader. And there are 60 million Americans reporting having some kind of disability that affect their major life activity. So there's a lot of people will be affected by it, and that's why it's so important to ensure that we're doing everything we can to make our content accessible to all. We're going to touch on what is WCAG. Anybody know what's that stand for? WCAG guideline? I hear people pronounce it differently. So WCAG stands for the Web Content Accessibility Guideline. And it was created by the World Wide Web Consortium, W3C. It is an international community, so international standard. And it has 3 levels of conformance. And all we have to know is the level AA criteria that also covers Session 508, and it's becoming the international standard for accessibility, and also here at US. So it has 12 guidelines that are based on the 4 principles, which is the perceivable, operable, understandable, and ROBOX. So there's an acronym of POUR, P-O-U-R, and which we'll cover next. And I want to, again, say MnDOT is following the WCAG 2.0 AA guideline standard, and that as of today, but you might hear talk about going to 2.1 next year, and actually WCAG is 2.2 now. So 2.2 will be releasing soon, but we are behind, which is fine, but we're going by whatever guidelines set by the state. So which is the 2.0 standard and level AA. So the 4 principles for accessibility, the perceivable, understandable, or operable, understandable, ROBOX. So perceivable is available through sight, hearing, or touch. So example that you do will be like providing a text alternative for a non-text content, graphic, and provide captions and other alternative for multimedia, and create content that can be presented in a different way without losing its meaning, and make sure it's easier for people to see and hear the content. And operable means compatible with keyboard mouse, simply, making all function available from a keyboard, because remember, it's essential for people with visual impairment that they have to access that through a keyboard. So you want to give user enough time or to read and use the content, and do not use content that causes seizure. That was one of the guidelines too, and help user navigate and find content. And understandable simply means easy to comprehend, and make text readable and understandable, make content appear and operate in a predictable ways. Consistency is the key for your menus or navigation, and that covers web. And help user avoid and correct any mistakes. ROBOX means work across different browsers, accessible technology, we call AT, mobile devices, all browser, all device, and etc. that follow a certain standard. So, and that's just a summary of it. So what is assistive technology when you hear AT? And here are lists of common assistive technology. And the picture you see is a Braille keyboard. And I want to talk about a little bit about takes. Sometimes you hear the taking takes and why it matters with assistive technology. So what is a take? A take provides a logical structure that governs how the content on your document is presented through assistive technology, through AT. So therefore, a properly take file document become accessible to everyone. So in WCAG WCAG 2.1 standard about keyboard, which is a level A requirement, says all function of the content is operatable through a keyboard interface. So this is important because AT users take user input and maps to a specific keystroke, like a tab or enter or on the keyboard or other keyboard combination. So I'll show you an example of how AT and take work together in a document setting. So it's different than, on the website, or Word can be different takes and PDF. But this is common through document. So on this slide, just by looking at the blank box and the text on the side, I mean, is it easy for you to figure out what is the block of text trying to represent? When you had to read through all the text and trying to picture what are the big ideas. But how about now? You see the blank box now have style and format, the title and the date, and it becomes a logo, copyright. All these styles makes it easier to read. Not only to a screen reader, but also for a visual reader, right? And taking a document creates this semantic structure for the screen reader, and that's what the screen reader needs to relay that information to the screen reader user. So I'm gonna show you another video on how how the screen reader reads through these different takes through the document, and good versus bad, and see if you can tell to hear the difference. So let's see. Audio should work. Let me know if it's not.
Hey everybody. As you may have seen from the title page, the topic for this video is accessibility.
Can you guys hear it?
Accessibility deals with how a computer reads data from your documents.
Yes, you can.
Okay, good.
I figured many
Thanks.
of you have probably never used a screen reader before, so I recorded some examples of accessible and inaccessible content. After you hear a couple of these examples, I think you'll see how big of an impact you have by the way you enter your data. First, I'll have you listen to an example of inaccessible content, and then you'll hear an example of accessible content. After you hear both examples, you'll be prompted with a question. Answer the question and continue on watching the video.
Top 5. Fran Tarkenton. Heading Level 1 Top 5. Heading Level 2 Fran Tarkenton. Dash picture 1 2.59 inches wide by 0.82 inches high dash 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 underline 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 dash dash dash. Description: image of Fran Tarkenton 2.59 inches wide by 0.82 inches high, heading level 2. Land, page 3. Page 3. Let's link http://bleacherreport.com/articles/330,690.-the-top-10-minnesota-vikings-quarterbacks-of-all-time/page/11. Let's link source of Fran Tarkenton article creator.
Well, by now I think you've heard enough to understand how important it is to enter your data to be accessible. But before you move on and close this video, I just want to reinforce the fact that creating accessible documents benefits everybody.
All right.
If you've got a pack of hot dogs in the kitchen,
Oh,
toss them in the trash.
all right, going back to my slide. I think I missed one. Okay, yeah, this is the one I missed here. So this is kind of just show you the tagging structure from that example I gave earlier. So the tags are the digital markers that contains the structure information for assistive technology. So that's heading 1, P tag, figure tag, alt text, etc. And that's what, when people say, okay, make sure you have tag your documents, and that's what they're talking about. And so we're going to talk about alternative tags. So what is alternative tags? Is metadata that's held within the property of an image, and it's only revealed to someone when they mouse over an image inside your document, or on the website, mouse over the image, or when they access with the screen reader or any other ATs. And captions are text are usually appear right below your figure or graphic, and sometimes has the labels show on the screen here, you can see, and it often describe the main takeaway of the figure, but it doesn't always have to do so. So a good rule of thumb for caption is, if a caption would be exactly the same as the alt text, then you can just either artifact the image and leave the caption, or artifact the caption and leave the image, and not using both. Because when you what you do when you have both is the caption and text, the screen reader will announce both, so it'll be duplicate information. And but however, if the caption is merely anecdotal information and it's not an exact description of your image or graphic, then it's appropriate to use both caption and the alt text for your image or graphic, because then it wouldn't be redundant. Okay. So we know screen reader user need to hear the information of your graphic, right? So we need to add the alt text to describe. And there are 2 ways you can label or put alt text on your image. So you can do so within the HTML code, or in later on in the demo session, I'll show you where to put that on Word or PDF. And caption, you can just put it right below the image, so it will be visible. So alt text will be hidden, caption will be visible. Okay, and then you want to ensure your text, whatever text you use, instead of image of the text. So that's what we're saying is, don't make a text an image, and alt text should describe the function of the graphic and not the property. Avoid using sample as a part of your alt text, because the screen reader will not read them, it will skip it. To make sure your graphic and image are accessible, to have like white space between the graph and the text, so it's easy to see. I have an example of the image here. Now, if it's on the website, if you didn't have an alt text, then it would just show the broken image icon. If your image for some reason did not load, or it's too big to load, something happened to it. But if you have alt text, it will show the description, right? If you have a meaningful description, or for alt text, it will show the description of the image. So people, even though the image didn't load, they can still see, what's the image about. And that's what I'm talking about when making your content accessible benefit to everybody and not just, say, the screen reader user. I have a session on how to write a meaningful alt text. So you want to ask yourself these questions. Is my image meaningful or purely decoration? If it's a decoration, we'll mark them artifact. I'll show you that later in the demo. And what is the main takeaway? Can I support the image with the body text? So therefore, you don't need the graphic, or if you don't need the alt text, it's better to do it without. And am I the right person to write this? Because sometimes, if you're posting something for somebody else, you might not have the right knowledge. And if you look at, shows right here. Oops. There's a whole article I wrote about alt text, because it's so important to write meaningful alt text. And I'm not going to go over these details. There's something you can read, on your own. That's under, it's under content guides. And you can get there by searching for it. I think that's an easier way to get to it. Okay, so back to alt text. Oh, sorry, we're done with alt text. We're going to hyperlinks. So these are just like really basic information, hyperlinks. Let's see. You guys all know what a hyperlink is. And when you have a long hyperlink, you want to embed it and not have the full long URL, because the sighted user visually can scan the link, but people with screen reader, they have to hear all that link text being read to them. And so you don't want them to hear. I had an example before when I record a screen reader reading through a page full of links, and they didn't have it embedded. They just have the HTTPS://, and it's just garbage, that they have to hear all that. It's hard for them to know what link those are belong to. The bottom line is you want to embed them, and you want to use meaningful title so people know exactly where the link goes before they click on them. You don't want them to click on each one to find out where they're going to. Here's the same idea, start with the keyword, a meaningful keyword, and so it will make sense out of the context. The reason why we say that is because, remember I said when you have a page full of hyperlink, so the visual user can scan that easily, but then the visually impaired, screen reader user, they had to rely on that to hear all the links. And screen reader will actually pick out those links and announce them. So it will announce all the hyperlink, and it was let them know these are lists of links, and then they can determine if they want to click on some of them or not. Hyperlink should be descriptive, so that's the same thing, before they click, they should know where they're going. And here's just a quick summary for page structure. You want to organize your content with semantic structure. So that's those style and tag and headings for headline. Don't just bold them. Create a list using a built-in list tool and hyperlinks. Embed descriptive and start with the keyword. Before I go into the color session, is there any question for what I just covered? Okay, we'll move on. So color. Oops. So Wicked.
Hey, Emily, there is a question from Tiffany.
Sorry, I can't see the. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just hoping that when you send out the information, could you include the link to that alt text article?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so color and color contrast. So like I said, Wicked 2.0 define adequate color contrast based on the size of the text. So a lot of people didn't realize that the size also is taken into consideration. So for certain color ratio, if you have any kind of checker tool and saying this is too low, but if you have a larger text, it will actually pass. So then it pass, there are different level again, the double A is what we're following, which is the contract ratio of 4.5 to 1 for normal text. So that's the typeface font weight up to 18 points if you use a point system, and 3:1 ratio for larger text. So that's 14 point bold or larger if it's not bold. So you don't have to remember these numbers, like what, I'm not going to remember 7.721, double, triple A. There are tools to show you. I'm going to show you. So this is one of the tools, the color contrast checker. I would recommend using this one. And Minute, I should say Minda also have a different color contrast checker tool. It's an application that you install, and you can download that from the, I think, what's it called? The Microsoft Store. It's pre-installed. So if you do this a lot and you just feel like, okay, it's easier using an application that's always open, go ahead and use that. But the web page, doesn't require any installation. It's fairly easy to use. And as you can see here, you don't have to remember the ratio. It would just tell you. So basically, you take the color picker and you pick a foreground color and background color, and it would tell you if it's a pass or fail. So if it's a normal text, which is like 8 up to 18 points, and larger, it will be 14 points, then it will pass. But notice in AAA will fail. So that's why the AAA, the level A is the easiest to pass, and then double A is kind of medium. I think most government agency go with double A, and AAA just, it's more difficult to pass. So then if you test, oh, whoops, I lost that page. So you can use that for anything, any document or web page you're working with. And let's say, why we say, that Minda blue on green is bad, because you can see if you use green text on blue, oh, well, you actually, oh, right, sorry. It's the green on white. I think most people trying to use, and it failed. So it'll be white text on the green background. I think that's the one sometimes I see people use, and it fail. Actually fail on double A for normal text and large text. So you definitely want to avoid that combination for color contrasts. Does that make sense? I mean, anybody have any question about that? You can read more about it. Again, like I said, you don't have to know all that or remember the number. Just bookmark the page, and whenever you have question about like, oh, whether or not if this contract ratio will pass, and then just test it.
And this is for people who have like are colorblind, right? So they can't distinguish between colors are too close together.
Right.
That's kind of, yeah.
Right. Yeah, we'll go over that, Ashley. Good question. Any other question about? Go ahead.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So for example, like MnDOT has set up some Word document, like some templates for us to use. Now, if we just stay within those templates and don't adjust any of the colors or any of the text, are those set up correctly for us? Or is that something we need to keep in mind, the color contrast?
Okay, so that's a great question. Thank you for asking. Definitely use the template. Templates are set up correctly and clean from the start, but keep in mind any content that you add to your template, right? When you give your contractor or vendor, when they're adding more information, they might use things that are gonna not be accessible. So color contrasts and reading order, I'll show you later. Those are the two things that you cannot automatically scan the document and have it identify, okay, pass or fail. And so those are the two things we say it's require menu testing. So, if you get a brochure or a flyer or a file, whatever, produced by a contractor, if you're ever in question, in doubt, just randomly test the color, I would say, and make sure it passes. Because like I said, color is a thing you can't scan, because you got to make sure not only the ratio, the number, the color matters, right? Also the size. So those are the things that you just manually had to check it. And like I said, there are tools like that web page. And if you're interested, I can show you how the application, when you install it, that works. But the template, yes, it's clean. But as soon as you start adding content to it, you can't guarantee everything you add in there is going to be accessible. Does that make sense?
Yes, I got a question. So
yes, please.
We create specifications for products, or at least people in my group do.
Mm-hmm.
We don't use colors. We use a white background with black text.
Okay. Yep.
Now, it was suggested that MnDOT puts out standard templates. The templates, when we open Word, don't work. We've created a standard template. We don't use colors. It's black and white. The only color thing we use is the MnDOT symbol.
Right.
And we use a size 12. That's not going to be an issue, is it?
No, it won't. Black and white, it has the highest contrast, so you're fine. You don't have to. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
That's what I thought, but I just wanted to verify.
I mean, yeah, you can definitely check that, remember the tool. So if you do black and white, it gives you the highest. Why does it do that to me again? Come on. So many windows open. Sorry, guys. I got to click on this. Color picker. So it gives you the highest ratio. So it will pass on all of them. And it doesn't matter how small. I mean, if the basic rules still apply. Like if your texts are way, way, way too small, I mean, it's just going to be hard to read, but at least it'll be fine for a screen reader. So anyway, I mean, when in doubt, you just have to take out your color picker tool and test it and see. All right, if there's no more question, we'll continue. And now we're going to talk about color emphasis. And so you never want to use color alone to indicate information. So, and because some people in the audience might miss it either because of low vision or colorblind. And the first example you see, I need to emphasize these 3 words, and these 3 words are in color red. And that's a bad example because the colorblind, they're just going to see it like the bottom half, which is all black. So they cannot tell, or see the emphasis. So what you do will be you use color and plus something like a boldface. In this example, you have important colon. These 3 words are in bold and red. So if the user is colorblind, then they will at least see, important. There's a hand. Okay, these are important, and it's in bold. But I do want to point out one thing, that some AT most often they don't read styles. So that's why in this example I add in the word important colon, because if they can't read the style bold, then at least the screen reader will say, important, then blah, 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 whatever is important. Does that make sense? Because, if you had italic or underline, or in fact, I have an example show underline will be a bad thing to do. Why? Because this makes it look like a hyperlink. Like some people will want to click on it, even though it's not a hyperlink. But anything underline, and especially when you use a hyperlink blue, then it implies it's a hyperlink, and people might want to click on it and it's not working, and they get frustrated like, oh, why is this link not working? Because it's not a link. Does that make sense? Or any question about that? So quick summary, make sure your color have strong contrast. If you're not sure, test them with the tool. The differentiator determine the minimum contrast ratio. It's also consider the size, the weight of the font that you use. And you never use color alone to show emphasis. Like another example is the important dates are highlighted in red. And then, of course, there are some people can't see that, and so they will miss that important information. Any question about that? Okay. And now we're going to go to the part 2 of this training, which I'm going to bring up a document. So I made this document, and this contains issues. And the reason why is to show you how we can correct them. So if you run the accessibility checker right now, you will see a lot of issues identified, but that's okay. We're going to go through them. So first thing, here's a document title, and you have some sort of table of contents. It's, pretty straightforward. And you, first of all, you want to go to your file property and make sure this document has all the property filled out correctly. So there's several ways to do it, but one of the ways is the easiest way, I think, is to go File, Info, and you under Properties, you click on the drop-down menu, and it will show you the advanced property. Pop up in the separate window here. So then you get a pop-up window like this, and then you fill in, make sure you have a title, okay, and then not just whatever the file name. Does that make sense? There's a difference between a document title and the file name. If you don't do that, what will happen is when you upload that to a website, and the tab, when people open, like in the browser, it will show the file name instead of the correct title for the document. You can put in a subject. This is not required. Subject is not required. Title is required. I wish they put a little asterisk mark to the field that are more important and more required rather than optional. Author, I don't know, the setup here, it might automatically grab it from your name. It could be the name of your agency. Company and comments, I just put in a demo file. This is a demo file for the training. And so when you change this, you're going to see right away like if we change that to subject and then click OK. And subject is not show by default, but if you click on show all properties, it should show up right here. Oh, right here, subject. So I changed it, and that's why it shows. And then you might ask me, okay, what about the other fields? Those are, I would say these are optional. You don't have to take them. So just make sure you have, again, the required ones are title, author, I would say company, and if you want to have comments. And some field might not show on default. You just have to click on that show all property. So that will be the first thing, because once you have this information in there, when you convert that into Adobe Acrobat, it carries everything into that PDF file and then will pass the check. So later on, when I show you, when you run a accessibility checker in Adobe, if it's like identify issue like missing title or document information, that's why it's missing. Like if it didn't have it from the source file, which is Word, then you either have to go back and add it, or you have to do more work in Acrobat in PDF to make that accessible. Does that make sense, or any question about that? So that's the first thing I do. And then you can create table of contents by going to reference. And then here's the table of contents. And so there are different style here, but I do the custom table of contents. And the reason being is because sometimes, let's see if I do modify. No. Here's give me a second. Using hyperlink instead of page number. There's a setting, you can only change it in here. Oh yeah, you gotta scroll down, sorry. Haven't done this for a while. Come on. There's a whole list of it. If you don't see like this, I'm gonna scroll down. I'll explain why in a second. Okay, let me just find that place. So the reason why I like the custom setting is because by default, every document should have a header, which is H1. That's the title, right? So in the title of the document is example document for accessible Word. But in the table of contents, you don't want the title to show. So that way you can, in a custom setting, you can simply delete that. So the number 1, 2, 3 here, TOC level, that's the table of contents level. So you can customize and say, don't show the title of the document in the table of contents, but instead I want heading 2 to be the first level and heading 3 to be the second level. And then click OK on that. And it says, okay, do you wish to replace or update? Then say yes. And that get rid of that title. Did you see the difference? So that document title, example document for access words, gone. And it looks so much cleaner this way. And then, if you have more levels, you can customize whether show or not show, if you have a level 3 or 4. So it looks cleaner. Does that make sense? So you can use the automatically style, but just remember default is going to add that first title in there. And then, then we're going to go to accessibility. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't see the question in the chat. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, so for what you just showed us, is that something that's already set up on the templates in Word for Office, or is that something we would still need to go in and do?
You mean the table of contents?
Yes, the way you had to go in and like
I believe,
look at the advanced.
right, I believe it's the custom settings. So by default, it's going to show that first line being the title of the document. I mean, I guess it's a personal preference too. If you don't like that, you can then go in there and remove it. Each agency I know has own style. So you're right in a sense. In our MnDOT template, it shows certain style for a table of contents, and that's what you can also you can see their different style here, right? So there's a MnDOT style preset, but the setting to whether or not to show what level, those are custom settings, and that's why I said you can do that under that custom table of contents. Does that make sense? So they're like different styles, like bold and stuff. But so MnDOT has, I think this is the default style for MnDOT. Okay. Does that answer your question?
So basically what I
Mhm.
understand you're saying is
Mhm.
that what you showed us of going into the table of
Mhm.
contents and changing that thing is not what would be standard on MnDOT's any MnDOT template that
Correct.
we open up.
Correct.
Okay.
That's a customized feature like thing if you want to do. So if you don't want that to show, or if you want to change the level, how many levels is visible, then you go into the customized setting. And it's under your, let me go back again. So it's under Reference tab, Table of Contents, click on that and go to Customize Table of Contents, and then click on Options. And here are all the options. So remember, it has hard to see here, but heading, everything is in here. Does that make sense? Okay. Any more question about table of contents? I know it can also be ugly and gets complicated with complex documents report. So I'm just going to show you the basic stuff today, and then if you have more question, then we can dig into that, or if you have document that you want me to take a look at, we can do that. All right, so move on to accessibility checker. So accessibility checker is under, let me think. It's under review and check accessibility. So I think that's the easiest way to get to it. There are other ways, there's always like multiple ways in doing one task, right? So I'm just going to show you the easy way is really under Review tab, check accessibility, and click on that. And then, like I said, I intentionally making some errors in this document so we can fix them. So this is what you will see once you have that panel open up. And you can see there are errors like missing takes or tables and image were not in line. There are merged content, all the bad stuff, right? So anyways, so we're so let's go back to where. So I want to point out warnings is not all important when the alt text or graphic is read, and the warning is not a problem sometimes and it's allowed. So it's just telling you to, like pay attention. Like some of the things we're talking about inline object, there's always like best practice, but it doesn't mean inlines are like wrong, like you cannot do inline text or a text box. It makes it more difficult, I think, for AT users, assistive technology users. Okay, so let's go down one by one. So first thing is applying the style and heading. So I don't know if you noticed, I didn't do the proper heading on these. So the first heading, okay, so heading will be under designed. And so there should be only one. This is the H1 heading. If you know what I mean is there's only one H1 per document because there should be only one title for each file. And so the second one, we really want to make H2. So these are predefined, they're predefined styles. So let me see if I can show you the style window. Sometimes it's helpful to have that open. Yeah, there. This is what I'm talking about. So this show you all the styles that I have on this document. So you can click on that. So when you click somewhere, it will jump to the whatever the style you have it currently assigned. And when you mouse over, it even give you more details and explanation. Okay, so that's correct. That's the first heading. This one is incorrect because it's just bold. And remember, we don't use bold for style. You want to make sure you pick from the style. So these are predefined Mendat style, right? So this will be a H2 heading. And then this one is H2. Yeah, go ahead.
So we have H1 title. We also have in that same, just down a little ways, title. So why wouldn't we just call it title? Why does it have to be a heading? It's the title of the document. To me, that example, that would be title. And then table of contents is table of contents. But then document properties would be heading 1, H1 in my mind. But
this has to
have these,
Go ahead.
We have these attributes, but we don't. As long as we have them multi-leveled, we're okay, right? So that the reader, the software reading the document can determine different levels of the document, correct? I mean, that's really the key here, right?
Right, but you gotta keep in mind, like these predefined heading levels, they're really important, and because it's consistency. Like through our agencies, consistently, we're using H1, H2, H3 to define things. And so you don't create your own style. Okay, so this is especially important when we're talking about website accessibility, when you're doing a web page, because H1 title and title is like two completely separate things. It has a different function and meaning behind it because the title can be a table title and not a document title. So so when they use keyboard shortcut, to sort out all the H2s or the H1, it's gonna have different function and provide different meaning. So you do want to use these predefined ones, if that makes sense. So most of the time, you really just using H1, H2, H3, H4. I mean, unless you're working on like complicated document, then we can look at it and we can talk about custom styles. Does that answer your question, kind of, or?
Well, it does, except that the standard. Why are we using colored stuff instead of black and white text? But yeah, there's a whole bunch of. I got a whole bunch of questions, but let's just let go. I'll just let it go for now. It's all good.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can definitely cover them at the end. Okay. So hold on to your question. Like put them on the side. All right. So going through this again. Yes. Yeah.
We're halfway through this time.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So going through, make sure we have all the appropriate style. And now, once I have that in there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to update my table of contents, because the table of contents was generated by Word based on the incorrect tag and style earlier, because I didn't have them properly set up. So now I have them, H1 and H2 assigned. I'm going to say update, and then entire table. Then boom, you see these now hierarchy are more accurate. Accurately reflect the structure I have for this document. So you can at all times, just anytime, go into, if you add a session, remember to go into your table of content and update, and click on the update. Okay, and then you always, you want to update the entire table. So this is another reason why you don't want to do the table of contents manually by hand. Okay, that's just bad practice. And then every time when you add something or change something, so it's different page number, you gotta manually update it. So I hope everybody, just uses the automatically table of contents function to create that. All right, let's keep going. So we're done with this one. So alternative text. So then we know the importance of alternative text. We covered that before. Now, how do you add that in the Word document? And let's go back to that accessibility checker, because I'm going to show you accessibility checker. Ooh. So first thing is showing me that you don't have a alt text for this image, and that's a big no-no, because AT user cannot read it. So what do you do? So here are the things: why fix and tip on how to fix it. So they actually give you the step-by-step here. So if you don't remember, you can just look at it. Right click on the object, and then you select edit text. So it says right here, select edit text. And then remember all that tips I give you about writing that meaningful alt text. And so what would you put in the box here? You can even say, okay, generate a description for me. So Microsoft will automatically generate a description. A bear sitting on a picnic table. That's actually pretty accurate, right? But does it accurately describe what we want people to get from this picture, the content? It's not necessarily true. So the correct text, alt text, I would put in will be a black bear sitting at the picnic table with the caption, quote, I was led to believe there will be picnic basket, ... unquote, because that accurately describe this image, and it won't get that, the machine won't get that from the auto generate function. So this is the part I was telling people, you have to spend time to write meaningful alt text that accurately describe your image. And it could be, think about it, could be a very complicated map, or a traffic system or some sort, or charts or graph. You simply can't use the auto generate function and do that. And so therefore, if you're the person to write the accurate alt text, then you got to put in all that information. So all users, including people with AT, they would get the correct information. Okay, and then of course, if the image, if it's a decorative image, we don't use that often. So if it's an artifact or something, you don't need an alt text. You can just check the box and saying, well, this is a decorative image, and then it would gray out the description, and it will pass the check. It will mark the check fulfilled. Okay, so when you're done with that, see, that went away. Remember earlier there's a picture 5 and this one it went away. Okay, it's so simple like that. Okay, so this is a table. Again, we can put in the alt text, or we can talk about the table descriptions. All right, sorry, gotta go back to where we were at. Is there any question about that? It's pretty straightforward. I mean, you might already know this information. Oh yeah, so here's the part I put in the differences between an older version of Word. So if you had like Microsoft Word 2016 or whatnot, you will see something different than the Office 365, which is what I'm using currently, and you will see a different option, but it means the same thing. Okay. Any question about that? No? Okay, we'll keep going then. So next we're talking about columns versus tabbing. So so again, screen reader reads left to right, top to bottom. So using tabs to create a list, it would read incorrectly, because then it would read this as need at school, don't need at school, crayons, knives, pencil, gum. So you see it's reading it out of order. And that's another reason why I said, the reading order is important and it requires a menu check. But, to make this correctly, you want to make sure you're making this column and list correctly. And we always want to use a bullet point list instead of tab, because if you do tab, the screen reader is not going to pick it out or recognize as list. And you have to use bullet list, then it will read list 5 items, and then it was announced that. So those are the important information for a non-sighted user, for them to quickly pick up that information. As a sighted user, you can just look at it and see, oh, well, there's 2 lists and there's a 5 item and 3 items. But for a screen reader, they will have to read through all that and listen to it and count them. And, rather than if you use a bullet list, it would just announce that. And that's why here I said use a bullet list so they can help them better understand the content or the information. And I think this is the one I already did. So earlier, so I actually already made the correction to this one, but the instruction is here. So I had it earlier where I list this. Let's see if I can undo this. Let me see if I can undo. It's in page layout and columns. Oh, I remember this. Okay, so I created this a long time ago. I gotta remember. So these are actually created by tabs. That's right. So we want to use columns to make it a 2-column rather than just tapping it through. One way to tell, if you look at, if I turn on the marker, so what will happen is if you use the tab, all that spacing, the screen reader will read through it, like knife, space, it will say that. So rather than doing that, you want to use the column feature to make that a 2-column styles. And same thing here, you see there's 1 column. And to make that 2-column, you just highlight them and you go to, where's that page layout? Layout, column, and 2-column. Oh, okay, and notice something that might not break where you want it to. So I think to create that break, you need to make sure you put the cursor in front of where you want it to create that break. and you go under layout again, and under, where's breaks, and then to fix that, we say you want to break right here. You see the difference? So it fixed that one line. Okay, so put your cursor in front of where you want it to break and go to layout, breaks, and column. Any question about that? So you want to make sure you create a 2-column style, not 1 column, and using bullet list. Okay, so let's turn this paragraph take off so it's cleaner. Now, links. So links is the same thing, you know, the hyperlinks. Make sure you have the meaningful text for all the hyperlinks, what we talked about before. And I want to point out a few things. So if you have a long list of links, so in this example, the URL is not long, you know, but if you do have a long list of links, you want to embed them. But then sometimes people say, well, it's for people to print it out, you know, like for a printed document. If you just embed the links, you know, it's perfectly fine for online user, but you know, if you do it for print, then you do want to see that HTTP : you know, then you can do that behind. So what will happen is we announce to the screen view user that this is a hyperlink link. It will say Minnesota Department of Transportation website, or whatever title. So you have the title and then the URLs. So they don't have to listen to all that because they can just listen to the title and move on. Okay, that kind of helps because I mean, it just sometimes it's just a lot of information that they have to listen through and sort through. So every little thing helps. And I say, do not do this. Okay, don't have the page title and then the hyperlinks, because what will happen is it's not going to read the title. You know, it's going to say links when it's taking out the context. It will just say link http://www.minda.state. So it's not going to say Minnesota Department of Health, or I'm sorry, why did I say health? Transportation website. Okay. So remember, if you want to list the URL, do it before and make that whole thing hyperlink. So it wouldn't read twice. It's not a redundant. It will pick up that title. And then I'm assuming you guys know the shortcut. You know, if you want to make anything a hyperlink, you highlight that text and then do Control-K. Okay. And then what if you have links that had like just a whole bunch of different languages? I have people ask me that too. They have it in Hmong, English, Spanish, you know, 10 different languages. Then what I would recommend is you list the primary, you know, the English MnDOT report PDF first, and then you do a hierarchy. The key is you always put the most important information first. So in this case, they already know it's a MnDOT report in PDF, but they don't know is, okay, this link is for Spanish and this link is for Hmong. So by listing that first rather than at the end, so I see a lot of people just do that at the end, then it's gonna force the user to listen to the whole thing again and again, like MnDOT report PDF, MnDOT report PDF, then it would say Spanish, link MnDOT report PDF Hmong. Does that make sense? So you put the most important information first, so it will be announced first to the screen reader user. Well, for a visual user, they can see the whole thing, so it doesn't hurt. Okay, does that make sense for link? Before we move on, any question?
I have a question
Yeah.
about the links.
Mm-hmm.
So you had said that if we had a document where it needed, like, if it were online and then for a printed copy, do we have to have the printed copy, or is it okay just to make a document solely for online purposes?
You know what? That's a judgment call that you will have to make. Like I say, I do it this way because almost, I would say 90% of my stuff I do is for online, and I don't want it to reduplicate unless this is something that people will want to print it out and have a copy in their hand. Then I think it makes sense for you to have the URLs behind it. So then they can just look at, but if it's a long URL, nobody's gonna hand typing that long URL anyway, Well, unless you use a bit.ly, it's a URL shortener, then you can just say http bit.ly/Minda, and then it link to whatever page. Does that make sense? So so it's totally, it's a judgment call. If you think people is gonna print it out and somehow they're gonna type in that information by hand and have the URL listed. Otherwise, leave it. You don't have to. It's redundant information. You don't have to list it.
Okay, so that's a call that we get to make and decide whether okay.
Yeah, because
thank you.
For accessibility checker, it's gonna pass both. It's not gonna check, it's not gonna count it as an error if you list it or if you don't list it. Does that make sense? If you scan the document, okay? Any other questions before we get into tables? Okay, so okay, tables. Just want to make sure people know we do not use table for layout purpose. We only use table for to display data. So I had an example which I can share with you guys on a site I'm developing. So for layout tables, I had an example. Okay, do not use for layout, because if you use this for layout, then the screen reader user, will read basement up, toilet, flush, must. So it doesn't make sense at all. So you get the difference between the layout table and data table. So we're talking about data table only. Okay, so use the table for a data table, and you want to insert a table comment or comment from create a table. And I want to just skip down to here, kind of short on time. So for data table in the layout, so we go to layout. The first thing you do is you click into your, I would do it just the first cell of your table, and make sure under layout, then you choose repeated header row. You can also do it, I believe you can also do a shortcut here. Rows. Oh, right here. So by default, it's not going to have that checked, but you want to make sure you check it. Say repeated header row. Okay. So that will allow, so if this is, okay, so what I have here is a short little simple table with 3 columns and 5 rows. But think about, like, if you have a complex table with over like hundreds of rows and across multiple pages. This, by checking this option, repeat a header row for each page, will help the screen reader using AT to know easily to know the content of your data, right, within your table. So it would say name, Emily Lou, phone number, address, name, Adam Oy, phone number, address, name, team number 3, 4, and so on. Okay, so and it's not gonna, you don't have to manually, I've seen people like manually putting the header row on the top of each page, because for visual user, they want to see that information too, right? So they want to, when they scroll multiple pages, a table spend multiple pages, they want to see that information repeated. But what the bad thing about that is it would also repeat all that information for the AT users, and you're gonna get an error message when you run that through the checker. Okay, so that's what it means, is repeat a header row. You just want to check on that, and then you're good. You can either leave that, allow rows to break across the page as a default, or either way, that's fine, but just make sure you do that repeat a header row. Okay, so now so that was that. And then if you want to make this table pretty, a lot of people say, okay, I want it easy to read, so I'm changing the background. They will actually manually gray out the background every other row, so it's easier to read. So I say you don't want to do that. What you want to do is go into table design. So this tab will only be visible once you're in the table. Okay, if you're not in the table, you don't have that. So once you're in the table, you click on table design, and then you can choose, this is again predefined Mendat style, right? You click on that, and it makes it more readable. And then finally, the table title and description. So again, that's under your table properties. You want to make sure you have your title and description. These two won't be visible, but that's, again, we're putting that information in. It's alt text. So remember, alt texts are not visible. It's different than captions. And the screen reader user will find that very helpful to know what the table is about. You can put a summary of if it's a data table or chart or map, you can put a summary in there because, obviously they can't see the whole picture, make it easier. Okay. So any question about that? So next, I have another example of a more complex table. When we're talking about complex table, we're talking about multiple table like headers and merged cells like this. It's very difficult for a screen reader to understand the data when it's merged like that. Sometimes, when it's so complex, it's even for sighted user to see and then get that quickly, like where you're trying to communicate. So instead of doing this way, you want to think about, how can I simplify that table if it's a complex data table? How do you simplify it so it's easier for both sighted user and screen reader user to understand? So in this case, I suggest you can first, this is a title of the table. Well, you don't need the title in the cell, right? Take that out and put that as a title, and then separate out the two table, make two separate tables, because then it becomes a simple table where you have one table header cell, and then they can read through that easily. Does that make sense? So when you're looking at the complex table, just think about what other ways I can present the data so it's easier for the people to understand. Really, for any user, screen reader or not. Does that make sense? Any question about table? I know these are very basic, and you probably have table that are hundreds of pages and hundreds of rows. But, if you have the idea right, then you can build on that, or you can ask me for more questions. So let's move on to text box. And you can see here I said text box, do not use them in Word. So this is a text box. You're probably like, I don't even know, like, what, never use a text box. And so even with alternative text box are inaccessible. So screen reader simply cannot navigate into the whatever content you put in the text box, inline or not, they simply cannot read it, and therefore they will miss that entire content. Okay, so do not use text box. Instead, there are a couple different ways that you can do that give you the same visual effect as a text box for a visual user, but then also works are accessible for a screen reader. So the first one, if you want to, here's an example I'm going to do. So the first way is what you can do is a style, by applying a style. So remember that big long list of styles I was showing you guys? Okay. If you pick one of them, is called, here, this one. Normal light blue background. It makes it appears to be in a box, right? So that's a quick way using a style and given that text box look, but it's totally accessible because it's normal text. It's just a style applied to it. And you can even give it like more attention if you say, oh, this, has a border and all that. So you can do all that, by playing with, let's say, move, tricky when I moved, making it smaller. You get what I'm doing? Oops. Why is it not going? Oh, I forgot to highlight. There you go. Making that a smaller box like that. Okay, so that kind of gives more attention, right? So it's the same, essentially it's the same as this inline text box that's very inaccessible, and this is 100% accessible, and it give more attention. So that's one way. Or you can also do a border. I think you can do a border simply by going to this tool. There's a border, and I would do outside borders. See, that give a nice border around it. Okay, so all these options are 100% accessible, so just don't use text box. Okay, any question about that, about text box?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
So in your styles, you have all sorts of styles that when I open up like a generic MnDOT template, I'm not seeing all of the styles that you're seeing.
You should still see the normal, like, that's a MnDOT style. I'm pretty sure of it. Do you see that?
No.
So, you know what? I forgot. There's one slide I forgot about the template. Let me go back. Did you grab the most recent template?
Well, I just opened up Word and opened up a MnDOT generic document.
So it's
Is that not how we're supposed to find the new documents?
Okay, so
like the general use one there.
Where is my template page? Give me 1 second. You can do it from Word, or there's also a template page. Oh, here. So it will give you a list of, oh yeah, I had to download it. Anyway, it will give you a list of template files, and I'm pretty sure it's one of the style. Let's see. Oh, hey, you're right. It's not in there. Okay, you know what? I'll make a note to Adam that we can add that style in there. Yeah, well, so I guess they didn't add that for this agenda template. Let's see if the other one has it. We are, sorry, I keep forgetting it's so many windows. Okay, right here. Let me just check one more. Is there a bigger one like report? Okay. Yeah. Nope, it's not. Oh, list parent. No, that's not. Okay, so yeah, thank you for pointing it out. I will make a note to talk to Adam, and Adam's my supervisor, and then, you know, see if we can get that added to the MnDOT template as one of the style. Then you can select from there. But meanwhile, if you want to do that, you can just do the border. Border is another easy way, like, you know, highlight the text. Oop, I don't want highlight the text and then make a border, outside border. Okay, like that. All right. So good point. Thank you for pointing that out. And yes, I do have more style in here. So any other question? All right. So then, you know, I'm just going to touch on the PDF, and then we'll have more time for other stuff. But how do you properly convert PDF? You know, a lot of people just go file, save as, or file print, and the correct way to do it. Okay, first of all, I want to point out, it will only work if you have Adobe Acrobat Pro. So I don't know if everybody in this class has Adobe Acrobat Pro. So the regular Adobe Acrobat, you're not going to have this option, okay? So if you have Adobe Acrobat Pro installed, then you're going to get this Adobe Acrobat, this Acrobat tab from your Word document or application. Then you can simply just click on this create PDF, because then it would export all the text correctly. Okay, so actually let's just do that. So we'll let it run. Sorry, I pop open on a separate window. Okay, so it's converting. So it's creating all that take information. Like if you don't do that, sometimes I scan through a Adobe PDF, and it says there is no take created for this document, and I know they didn't create them in the right way. So once you're done, you open up the file in the Adobe Acrobat Pro. You want to go to this accessibility checker. Okay, this icon. If you don't have that icon show up, you might have to go under more tools and then find that. Where would that be under? It should be under review, because I already have it here as a shortcut. But if you don't have it, just click on that the more tools icon, then you will see it. Hold on, go back. So you can add to it, okay? So click on that, it'll open this panel, and then what you want to do is do a accessibility check. So this is similar to the check that we did on the Word accessibility check, except this one's in PDF. And then, here are the different options that you can pick. I will just go with the default. You don't have to change anything, and start checking. So, oh, sorry, go ahead. Yes.
On the checker that you just showed us, it said that you had 31 of 32 boxes checked. Which one weren't you checking?
I'm sorry, 32, which box?
So if you went back to the accessibility checker,
Uh-huh.
it says that checking options 31 of 32 in all categories. Which one are you not checking?
I just go by the default, to be honest. I didn't change anything. So I know these are the important thing that we want to make sure is checked, because documents take by PDF. So you can look into your setting, and if you see it differently, let me know. I guess you can say select all or clear out. I just use the default setting. So yeah, I'm not sure which one's the one that's referring to. See, even if I do that, it still shows 31. So it doesn't matter, I guess. Okay.
Well, if it wouldn't be in one of the other categories, you would be missing one.
Let's see. Sorry, go back again. The other
categories. So, yeah, under one of the categories.
Page content. I thought you select all will be all. So not here. Oh.
Okay. So
table must have a summary.
We don't need to worry about tables must have a summary.
I know for that's one of the new thing they changed. Gosh, I'm trying to remember the new guideline. But yes, in the current guideline, it doesn't require. I don't know why, it just doesn't require. But I know for web table, like table appears on the web page, HTML table, I always tell people to put a summary in there. Because again, like if you have a complex table, sometimes the summary can quickly tell people like what this table is about. Okay, it's about, I don't know, like the death rate of the whatever past number year accident. So I guess, yeah, in the current guideline, I remember they were talking about this one. We do not need to have that summary, but in the future guideline, in the like the WCAG 2.2, I believe, because I just been to a meeting where they're talking about the international standard they're changing, and that was one of the things they changed is some of the I think in AA they require, or AAA requires a summary. So it's up to you. In short, I say you don't need a summary, but it's not hard to put a summary in. If it's a complex table, you think that will help. And you remember where we put that, right? It's under table property. I think I showed you guys that one. The table title, and then there's a box for description or summary. Okay? Anything else? Click on this again. Placed. All right. So title film. You know what? It always say if fail, but we actually do have a title, I know. So you can just click on fix, will pass. If you don't have a title, then this is the part I was telling you about. It's trickier to fix it in Adobe. Oh, I gotta remember where to fix it even. It's easier to fix it from the source file. So this is referring to that document title. And again, the logical reading order that needs a menu check, that's always true. And the color contrast, like I said before, requires a menu check. So the machine cannot scan those. Everything else look good. We have take content, tab order, everything else. Form, we don't have any forms on this, I don't believe. And alt text. Oh, there's one fail. Oh yeah, I didn't put those in. I didn't finish putting them in because of time. I figure I'll just skip. You get the idea. So remember, we fixed that from the source file by going to Word, and you can fix that. Oh, sorry. No. Never mind. Okay, now I lost that panel right here. Hold on. There. Okay, so you can fix that. either from the source file or from Adobe. Again, it's trickier. I think you can go here. Edit. No. See, I don't really fix it from Adobe. I use another program called Common Look, and Common Look is what I use for remediate files that is in PDF. If you already convert it into a PDF, then I either do it from the source file and then reconvert, or I do it from Common Looks, because it's really hard to fix things inside the Adobe Acrobat. It's really not designed to do that. So where did I put in the alt text here in Adobe?
I think if you go to the figure and you right click on the figure that's highlighted in your accessibility checker, I think it'll give you the option there.
Oh, right. There you go. Yeah, so then you will go through that. Or you can mark it as a decorative. So it's similar to Word, but if you fix it from your source file, then none of this will show up. All of them will be passed. What's the table? Let's see. Row, check. Header, passed. Summary, skipped. And this one, let's see. I don't even know why it's showing that, because we don't have... Oh, I didn't take this table. I think I did it only for the first one, but not the second one. So I had to go back and then apply the necessary takes. And heading, let's see what's heading. Nest heading, yeah, it's again referring to these heading failed because it had like multiple heading rows and stuff. So again, like I said, it's just easier to do it in a simple table by removing it, out of that nested table header and make that easier to read. So this is a simple document, and that's why, there's not a whole lot of issue, but I know, I have helped people remediate files where there's like 100 errors on table contents alone. So notice we didn't have any table contents error because we did it correctly using the built-in functions from Word. Okay, so now I know we're running short on time again. I want to go back to my presentation file and kind of just do a quick review. So these are the takeaways. So 5 things, okay? Use heading, list, add alt text. Identify language we didn't really talk about, but it's default to set in English. This is referring to a function in Acrobat. There's a place in Acrobat, oops, I shouldn't click away from that. In Acrobat, you can identify language. Let's see if I can remember where that is. Anybody remember where that is? I think you go into the settings. Did they even pick it up as a, let me double check. It's in the document setting. Document setting, take, bookmark. Oh, here, primary language pass. So it did convert it from Word correctly. Sometimes I can't remember why this might fail. If that's the case, click on fix. It will pop up a pop-up window, and you can select the language from the drop-down menu and set that to English. That's kind of important because that tells the ATs, what language setting they're reading at. So again, that's the identify language part, and use table wisely because we don't want to use it for layout table. And then really quickly, just some resource. And all these links are on iHub. So we have the accessibility guidance and more video links if you want to look at. And then under accessibility, oh wait, that is where is the shortcut that goes? Oh, here's a template, content guide. I'm looking for this page. I have a bookmark, but from accessibility document, web accessibility testing, nope. Huh. Where did I put that link? Sorry, I'm having trouble finding my own links. So I have a short bookmark, but on document accessibility. So I have a step-by-step for Word, Excel, PowerPoint. I know we didn't have time to cover all the other Office tools, but it's the same principle and idea. So if you want to just like quickly look at the other ones, Excel, then talk about complex table and stuff. And I also have, I was planning on doing a video tutorial for each one. So you can just click on each section and just watch the part about, image and alt text and so forth. And there's also the tip card. I thought it's helpful, give you some pointer. So I didn't make this. This is from Minute Office Accessibility. And so, but then I include the links. Oh, I lost the page. I included the links on there so you can find those tip card if you want to print it out. Also, back to PowerPoint. PowerPoint. Okay, so also there are, so the request form. The accessibility request form, that's under support. Oh yeah, web graphics support. Oh, that's where it is. Accessibility guidance and all that. Okay, so the link is on the first page, the root level. So support, you can go into the accessibility request form. If you need help on anything, I shouldn't say anything, any digital content or web content that you're creating, you want me to help you on remediating files or checking and see if your web page are accessible, you can fill out a request form here, and that would just go to me, and that help me kind of manages my ticket, and I got ticket from the web inbox too. So I kind of do both web requests and the accessibility requests. And we have a new contract in place. So this is for more complex needs, like if you were producing a video that needs caption or provide live captioning. The state of Minnesota, so I guess Department of Admin, they come up with this master contract program. It makes it easier for each state agency to request services or contract out, like say if you need a file for here's remediation service, and they have like some pre-selected vendor that we work with. And then I'll let you read through this page, and then you can, there's more vendor information, and you can, like fill out a form to request services. Okay, it's not free. So the budget will be coming from your program budget, not from Minute or from the Department Admin. Okay. So that's that. Let's see, anything else? Let's see. Oh, design system. So Adam and I put together this design system page. So this is not on iHub. This is on the public site. And the reason why we put it on the public site is we want everybody, including contractor to be able to access this. And so you see there's some accessibility information here as well, talking about color. Oh, just saw something with the color. Oh, I know, it's color, and here's some of the color palette. Okay, so there are a lot more information here. The idea behind this is to create that consistency across the agency. When we, as vendor, outside contractor, creating document or brochure or flyer or whatever, a website, they follow the same standard throughout the agency and the same guidelines. And there is more than just the accessibility. There's the writing style guide. One area I didn't really talk about is plain language, but people know that, best practice, so all that stuff. All right, so I'll let you guys look that over, and let's see what else I need to cover here. ADA language. Okay, so sometimes I get a question like, okay, I have this complicated report or table or whatever data, and it's just hard making that 100% accessible and pass all the checker. Then what do? We don't have the time or the resource or the knowledge or whatever we need, and I don't want to send it out to the master contract because it costs so much money and time. I don't want to say this, but I think people put a language, an ADA language, to request whatever document in alternative format by emailing the ADA request ... So what this does is, I would say, okay, it doesn't really alleviate the liability for us as an agency, so people can't sue us and say, hey, you put off an inaccessible document. Okay, they can still do that, but what this will do is it offers another way, alternative solution, and say, we know that this document might not be 100% accessible for screen reader user. And if you're using a screen reader and you're having trouble with this map or forms, please, email us, let us know, and we'll help you. So then you can either, case by case, you can get on the phone and help them navigate, or you can try to provide it in a different way. Again, like I said, really doesn't alleviate the liability. It doesn't mean, then we're safe. We don't have to do anything and people cannot sue us. They can still sue us. We're still liable. But this it shows a good faith to making this effort. And what will happen is when people file a complaint, usually it's to OCR, Office of Civil Rights, and they say, okay, MnDOT has this inaccessible document on their website and I can't read it. Then, we have this statement on the side and saying you can request alternative format. Then I can our legal counsel or legal team can work with OCR officer and say, we know this is an issue and we're working on it, it just take more time or whatnot. But meanwhile, they can always call, email, or whatever, and we can provide them with whatever information they need. Okay, so does that help? I mean, anybody have any question about that? It's kind of tricky, but hopefully you won't get sued for anything. Yeah. Yes.
So we should be putting that statement on documents that we know.
Not on every document. Like I said, only on the document that you can't. Making that accessible. We try, you and I had, try whatever, and still not making it. Sometimes map is the case. But then again, I say, don't put out a PDF map. You should be using ArcGIS, made that interactive, right? So that's the alternative format. So you see, so then you can put the statement and say, we know this is a problem. We're working on it, but here's a way you can contact us. Reach out if you need help. Does that answer your question?
Well, I mean, for example, right now we have old documents that are not ADA compliant, and I guess the idea is eventually we will update them when we have the time, but right now we don't have the time. But we still want to be transparent and keep those documents available to members of the public.
Correct.
So then would this be the type of thing we should be adding to that?
Not ideally, but yes. So short answer is yes. If you feel the need, go ahead and add it. We have this throughout our site. Okay, so your document was not going to be the only place that had this language. But yeah, we do want to work on that. So if there's anything I can do to help you with that, please let me know. After the training, we can set up time. But meanwhile, yes, if you want to, you can add the statement next to those documents that you say, it's you're working on it. Okay. Did that help or?
Yeah. That helps. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. We're almost time. Okay. Any other question? So, these are just, again, more resource on accessibility. I hate I opening the second window. Okay, here. So, this is from Minute. Minute is Office of Accessibility, and they deal everything regarding accessibility. They're more expert, and they have a bunch of trainings really online that they're self-guided training you can take, stuff that I had covered in my training. And if you want to view more, you can check out their session, and I'll have the link on the PDF, which I will share that with you. See, that's the other agency resource. So that's a good one. And that's it. So again, I know it's a lot to cover, and I'm only covering the basic. Okay, sorry with the time given. And knowing all this, I'm not asking you to go back and start fixing all your old document that it's wrong, but just start small, but start now. The idea is you want to start today and knowing all that and knowing what you should do, and then just do the right thing. And I know it's almost impossible to be 100% accessible, but then by creating new document, new content with these skills that we had talked about, then you're in a good standing from forward, and then you don't feel as overwhelmed with all these accessibility document or remediating work that you had to do. Okay, so we're at time, and is there any other question or comment? Otherwise, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you the survey I was telling you about in the chat. So this is the training feedback survey. It's very quick, and opening a separate window again. Drag it over. Okay, so if within the next day or two, if you can't fill it out, and this definitely will help me to improve my future sessions. Okay, so it's just really quite a few questions. That's it. Thank you for making the time to. I know it's a lot of work, but thank you for making the time for me on this important topic. Anything else? Any questions or comments? Kelly, do you have anything?
No, thank you. Thanks for doing this.
All right. Thank you. And
thanks, Emily.
Thank you. And then just again, email me with any questions. Okay, I'll do my best to answer them. Okay. Thank you, guys. Bye.